I'm Tim Schaefer. I'm here with Dead Allies.
Well, I'm
Simple
Dead,
things first.
Allies.
otherwise known as Sam.
And James. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, as if anyone hasn't heard of y'all whatsoever, just give it the shtick of just basic, do you have any music currently out?
I like how you said
what kind of genres?
Because no one's heard of us.
That's right.
No one's heard of us. That's why we're here. We're trying to get people to hear of us.
I mean, that is the goal, technically.
Absolutely.
The more people, the better. That is the goal here. So, I mean, just tell people, whether they heard about you or not, just give us some cold, hard facts just about you guys.
I really love pepperoni pizza.
What drives me is anxiety.
Oh.
Same.
Oh, yeah.
No.
No, yeah. I mean, we just couldn't rely on other musicians anymore. It just kind of became a thing.
We've played in a lot of bands together over the years, and back in 2020, I had a collection of songs, and I was like, hey, I want to record these, I want to experiment with different techniques. You want to play drums on for me, because I can play every other instrument but the drums well? And he was like, yeah. And then we've known each other for 15 years now, so...
Yeah.
It was just kind of like a thing, like, hey, let's just write some music, put it online, whatever.
Yeah. And again, then, I know y'all, it's just the two of y'all. They don't. So how do you do the different instruments with just the two of y'all?
Well, when we record it, piano, drums, his vocals he does, guitar, bass, ukulele on the first album. I did main vocal, like the primary vocals I do, but it's we all do it ourselves, and then when we play live, I play guitar and vocals, he does drums, and then we play with backing tracks.
Okay.
Basically like just the bass guitar, and then a couple extra.
But it's the parts
that
I
do you want to get a mic also above the drum set so you could just do live vocals?
I also do the live vocals.
Okay.
But then I gotta remember that when I'm writing a song, not to go too crazy. But yeah.
I love drummers that are also vocalists. It's one of my favorite things. One of my favorite groups, Funeral for a Friend, is drummer and also vocalist. He's
I'm a big fan of Taylor Hawkins. He killed it.
Okay.
So, I mean...
Awesome.
And then I didn't realize that, I forgot his name, of course, shame on me, the guy from the Beatles.
Oh, yeah.
Not the Beatles themselves. The Eagles. Animals, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, that drummer thing.
I don't know his name either, but I know what you're talking about.
Don somebody, bless his heart. He's the best.
No, the Eagles are fantastic. I feel bad not knowing his name.
Right.
Yeah.
I couldn't name anybody else in the Eagles, so... Yeah.
But I want to say, speaking on the Eagles, every member can play so many different instruments.
And they're all fantastic.
Yeah.
Stupid. And it's stupid how good they are.
Yes. But, so you're saying you just got all these songs in your head or even written down or thought through, and you're just badly wishing, man, I wish someone would just make music the way I'm envisioning it. And you're finally just like, fuck it, I'm going to do it myself. And that's basically what happened there.
With this band particularly, so we've played in other bands together with other people, and we've known each other 15 years, so we've played together in a lot of different bands.
Okay.
And every single one of them ended because somebody flakes out, or somebody has too much of an ego, or just something happens that it just kind of makes everything fizzle out. And when 2020 hit, I was just like, hey, I have these songs. I don't really want to bring anybody else in on them, because everybody else flakes all the time.
Yeah.
So we started with just us, and we started doing it, and we started telling people about it, and they're like, oh, that's cool. And then we put out a music video, and then suddenly everyone's like, oh, do you need another guitar player? Oh, do you need a bass player? Do you need this? And we're like, no, go away. Where did you come from? And we talked about adding another member, like adding a bass player, adding other people at some point, but it just, at this point, we're just like,
I mean, a two-person band sounds pretty neat, though.
It's super fun.
It gives you a unique thing. Obviously it exists, yes, but it's very low percentage.
Right.
And
absolutely.
It could totally help you guys stick out and do things that you couldn't normally do because you got a whole suite, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's a lot easier to schedule stuff. It's usually just one message. Yeah.
You can experiment way easier since you only got one person to convince.
It also makes those moments harder because he's like, I'm trying this thing, I don't know if I like it. And then I'm like, I don't know either if I like it. And they're both like, oh, I guess we're not going to use that. I don't know.
Which, I mean, but it sounds more difficult, but it isn't really. I mean, it's just the quick, it's not like we're dealing with three, like I feel like a third person make it a whole lot more complicated.
Yeah.
Just having that one extra person, because then it's that one person like, well, I really like this, and they're just like, yeah, we don't.
Exactly.
But on the majority vote, that's hard.
Yeah.
Because if we're split, we're just kind of
Right.
split.
Yeah.
But usually we're not.
But I don't know if neither likes it, don't do it.
Yeah.
That's fair.
And that's kind of how we've gone about it.
Yeah.
One of the things people have said about our music, the people that have listened to it, is we have kind of a broad genre. Like, we cover a broad
That's what I was going to
variety.
speak on myself, and
Yeah.
I'll go ahead. Let's get into that,
Yeah,
because when I kept going track to track, I'm like, okay, the first song, it sounds almost like Offspring-ish, right? And then like the very next track, what? I don't know if y'all know Trust Company, but that's what was giving me vibes of that.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
listen to the next complete. I'm like, man, every track is so. And that's why I love it, though. First of all, some of my favorite artists, again, Funeral for a Friend, they are really good at that. But Thrice, same thing, right?
yeah.
Every other track, completely different. And a whole album being a completely different style and thing. They're really good about mixing up. And I love groups that do that, because even if it's a really good album and a group I really love, by the time I'm getting to the 7th or 8th track and it's still a similar tone, I get bored of it real quick.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I feel
Yes.
that.
That's kind of how we are. I feel like we just get bored with things.
Yeah, I think that's just, we just
it's the
naturally
ADHD.
just like, all right, let's do a different feeling now. Yeah.
Zebrahead comes to mind more than anything just because of that. Like when I'm listening to the Zebrahead album, it drastically changes like track to track. That's another one that kept popping in my head.
It's not something I've consciously like tried to do. It's not something that we've aimed to do. It's just I'll start writing a song, have like a basic outline of it. I'll play it for him. He's like, oh, I'm getting this vibe from it, and then like it, and we just let it happen. We don't try to force it. I get influenced heavily by what I'm listening to, and I listen to a lot of different things. So like there's definitely songs on the new album, which is what you're speaking about, that I can listen to and be like, I was listening to this band at that time when I wrote that song. I was listening to this band when I wrote that song. And
the first track where it starts to slow down reminds me of Alter Bridge.
that's a new one. We haven't gotten that one before. I don't think I'm a good enough guitar player to get that comparison.
Because you're getting those vocals where, like, instead of just being like a grungy rock sort of, you're actually like, let's say, genuinely trying to have a range with your voice.
I'm definitely trying.
Being a lot more.
He's trying.
And I was like, it's reminding me of Alter Bridge, like a lot.
Yeah, that's sick, dude.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna be like, you try.
No. I will if I'm going to crap on it somewhere. Weirdly enough, it's just the beginning. Like that first track, I'm like, okay, it's good. I get it. I dig it. But as it went, it got so dramatically better over time to where whenever I go back to the beginning, I'm like, man, I don't know. I would totally just mix some tracks around. Something.
You know, that's funny you say that, because I have that moment with a few of my songs where I'm like, yeah, I don't know about this one. And then the more I hear it, I'm like, all right, that's good.
Well, I end up like at this point just because of at first I was just trying to prep, but then I started really genuinely loving it, and then now I've just been listening to it naturally anyway. But that I would at least swap that second and first track. That second track is so much harder of a song than the first, and really shows so much better skill, diversity. So many more things are going on with the one you posted, Disappear. And I was like, that track hits way harder than that first, and I wish people, because so many people are going to play the album, they're going to hear the first, and then they're just going to be like, okay, it's good, and just kind of move on. And it's like, man, like,
wait till you get to the
I
banger.
wish they knew,
even
just the next track, how much better like it gets. Now,
Well,
it's all subjective. Just say something better or worse, whatever. What does that even mean?
Oh, yeah, right.
Well, and also, like, the concept of an album nowadays is pointless.
We've been debating, like,
People listen to the songs they want to listen to. Because, like, nobody really listens to albums anymore. People tell us all the time, like, you shouldn't do albums.
I do, but most don't.
Yeah.
For sure.
But, I don't know, maybe this is one of the reasons why we went with that one for the first one.
Yeah.
The album starts with a choir, and it ends with a choir.
Now, I do love that part. That's why I kept thinking about, like, man, I don't know, because, and it blast in, and then just to go with the riff, right? And I'm like, man, that beginning's epic, right? And you need that to start as the album. I agree. But then it just
we did have another one at the beginning at one point. Like we
Yeah.
did swap around. We have to kind of commit to what we have now because we have all the art. done.
No. First of all, I don't think you
That's
should
what
change
sucks.
it. I think this is a weird conversation in general because I'm not even telling you guys, yeah, you should change.
Oh no, I
I appreciate,
we appreciate
the input. Yeah.
all of.
I
the
just
input.
want to be as
genuine.
That just
Yes.
means
Absolutely.
that just
Yes.
means the second song hit as hard as I wanted it to.
That just means you
Yes.
actually listened to it, and you weren't lying.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, if someone's like, I heard the album, it was okay, I'll be like, you must not have heard the second song, I guess.
my favorite track, and it goes for a run. 4, 5, and 6 is like my 3 favorite tracks in the whole album. It's
Hell
like
yeah.
starts with Paranoid.
There
I
we
don't
go.
remember,
Yeah, we can't remember
track
the track
number
list.
5.
I was pulling up the track list.
Yeah,
I was like, I forget what those are. But it's funny that you say Paranoid because that is Paranoid, Someone, and Regret.
Yeah.
4, 5, and 6. Yeah,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Because I will
That's
say,
so funny.
Someone is one of the songs that we've been the most back and forth on. The
We're like,
words
we should
like,
probably
I
just
don't
scrap
know,
it.
probably not do
We
it.
changed the
But
things.
the few people we've listened to it have always loved it, and we're like, all right, I guess it's working.
That's what I was saying about
Yeah.
the first track. Just because, like, I'm thinking is weaker doesn't mean you should change it because
Yeah.
I guarantee you there's going to be people that think
Right.
the complete opposite.
Right.
Absolutely.
Just like y'all with the track you're saying. So.
The only thing for me that really sticks out about the first track is the fact that it's a new choir perspective, and
Yes.
it's just like a new thing for me, so I'm like,
No, I think you
You get a
should
little,
keep running with that. Yes,
Yeah, yeah,
yes, yes.
But also the fact that you like Paranoid. That one was another one that's a little more experimental. Yeah, it was a little more
he's got the riff
experimental.
down.
It's so good.
Oh, shit.
I like that you appreciate. I appreciate that you appreciate that one.
hell yeah,
Yes,
dude.
yes,
Because I mean, at the end of the day, I am still just an artist, and I am very insecure about a lot of things.
No, obviously easier said than done, but you genuinely should always try to experiment as much as you can.
Yeah.
Oh, right, yeah.
And
Yes,
we've tried to keep that mentality with this. We try not to. I know every band's always like, like we're breaking boundaries. We're not trying to break boundaries. We're just trying to do what we like. We're
Yeah.
just trying to do what we want.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
on that topic, it sometimes concerns me that I'm like, have we just like not found our sound, or like,
No.
is our sound just universal, if you want to put it that way? Yeah.
Yeah, no, the more broad the better, I always think.
Yeah.
You could have a track in there to where you have a friend and goes in there and do some like hip hop lines and then you go back to like a hard track.
Mm-hmm.
And that can work. It just depends on how you do it and if it's good enough. It doesn't
very true.
matter if you should or shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of, I guess, just you nailing it.
It's just sometimes I can't help but think about Linkin Park, their first 2 albums. Money. First 3 albums, money. And then after that, it's like, I wish you guys would go back to do the cool stuff again. That was
Yeah,
fun.
yeah. I mean, I got more and more bored over time, but then there was like ones that really stuck out. Linkin Park, it was later on. It was certain tracks to where the rap was the hardest it's ever been, and Victimize. I wish I could
Okay.
remember what album that's pulled from. I want to say it's the one that to where they got that spike, and it was like a song that I always play on like NBA games, and I wish I could remember what the
Oh,
track
damn it.
was.
Yeah, I don't
And
know.
It's driving me insane. Regardless, there is an album later on that I listen to constantly, and I actually put up there with the first 2 albums.
Yeah.
But it's so far ahead of just and then
That's
you're
true.
talking like 8 albums of
That's true. That's a
and
good
then
point.
here of a sudden there's some like magic gem that nobody really listens to just
Yeah.
because it's so far out.
Yeah.
But anyway.
That's something else I worry about too. What if we put 5 albums out and everyone's like, they're just mediocre, and then the 6th one's fire, but nobody realizes,
I mean, at this point, you should not be worried about something 5,
That's
6
true.
albums later.
That's true. That's just my anxiety kicking in.
I'd be fine with being a one-hit wonder, honestly.
Yeah.
Some of these bands
Honestly,
still out
I
there.
would, yeah.
I mean, I just went and saw Kansas the other day, and like they're on their 50th year,
Yeah. I think
and
it's
like
the last tour.
Dust in the Wind and Carry On My Wayward Son are like the only 2 songs that I really know. They have great songs,
Yeah.
and they're well respected. They're great musicians, absolutely. But those 2 songs definitely got the biggest response out of that crowd.
Did they play it like 2 or 3 times?
No, they played them both once, but like they got like a huge reaction. And it was like it definitely felt like this is the only song everybody knows.
Yeah.
When they played it, like everyone freaked out, and then like other people knew other songs, but like when like they started playing Dust in the Wind, it was like everybody knew this song.
Yeah.
But like the Sanger was full. Like they played the Sanger down the road, and it was packed out.
I just went to We the King show like a week ago, and that's what happened there. Is like obviously, when everyone knew every word, and then any other song they played, nobody knows anything.
They're just like, check
Classic. Yeah.
But
I'd be cool with that.
No,
I'd be cool with more people knowing the stuff, but
I knew way too many of their songs, more than I'd like to admit. I think.
No, that first album I actually know pretty well, and then I know like random because I think they only released one full album after that, and everything else is just kind of random singles.
So should we keep putting out albums,
or do the singles thing?
No, I think you should just keep doing what everyone is still currently doing, because release the albums, but release the singles, and I don't know, you can't lose because I'm telling you, there's definitely still.
You can't lose, but can you win? I don't know. That's a good
question. Let's say you didn't do an album. Let's say the 10 or 15% that genuinely want to listen to an album from you.
Absolutely.
Now they're just crap out of luck, and you're just releasing singles. You're not going to hurt anyone by like the reverse of that. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
You're only going to hurt one way if you just dropped it.
I feel like if we put once we put this album out, we'll have 25 tracks, not albums. Because the first CD has 12 tracks on it. We released that single between. Now this one has 12. We'll have 25 tracks for people to look at. I feel like we can do the singles thing for a little while.
Yeah.
Maybe. That's what we're kind of thinking about doing right now.
You could even throw in the older tracks as like a deluxe edition, let's say a year later, and you see the numbers of nobody listening to that first record, right?
Sorry.
Throw it in.
Yeah.
Throw it in like extra tracks.
Yeah, true.
From the previous. Just throw it in.
I will say, it is funny, one of my coworkers, when we released the first album 2 years ago? We released the first album 2 years ago, and we did like 5 music videos before the album came out, and that people like listen, watch those, and then the album came out.
First of all, I'm glad you did, by the way. Sorry to sidebar you, but music videos are so key to me. I don't know if I can speak for everyone, but so
this
important.
ties into that. So we did like 5 music videos, 5 or 6 music videos before we released the album in April, and then like 3 months later or whatever, we did one more music video for that album. And then I went into work one day, and one of my coworkers was like, "Hey man, I heard your new song." And I was like, "What?
Nice.
What new song? What are you talking about?" He's like, "I heard the new song you put out." And I was like, "We didn't put out a new song." And he had just seen the new music video, but like he had only seen. I was like, "Bro, that song's been out for like 3 months," but he didn't see it until the music video came out. And I was like, "All right."
So anytime where I'm getting people together, I mean, literally tonight we're doing a bonfire for his birthday. His birthday was yesterday, by the way.
Happy birthday.
To the invisible man.
Right. Behind the camera there, Cody. But I love to just throw music videos on in the background as people are hanging out. I think it's perfect because, like, if you put on like a TV series or movie, people got to pay more attention. People aren't talking as much and all that. And over anything, we're just trying to hang out and talk with each other and all that. So I can just put music on in the background. But you know what's better is music videos.
Then there's something that you can watch. I mean, coming from an awkward guy that in like social gatherings, like I will watch TV for
it's usually as they're like, me and my wife I'm just like looking past them like, oh
it's funny because I play in a cover band as well, and sometimes when we're playing in bars and like nobody's in, we're just background noise, nobody's paying attention, I'll just be staring at a TV like behind the bar, just watching it, like zoning out, playing, just watching this TV. Like I don't care about football, but like, hey, football's on, okay, that's what's going on. And then I'm like, where am I? What's going on? Oh crap.
So like y'all, for example, I threw in some music videos of y'all that's just in the shuffle of everything, and it's already happened multiple times to where people are like, oh, who's that? You know, and I can bring y'all up.
Hell yeah.
And I'm telling you, natural things like that go a super long way.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's genuine interest.
Yes.
And the first album, the music videos are all done by our good friend Javen, and he's just
shout out Javen.
Fantastic on we're gonna release a music video for Regret.
Yo.
In the next coming weeks, right before the album comes out, we're gonna release that along with some playthrough videos to try to.
Regret. Which number is that?
6. It's one of the 3.
Yeah.
One of your favorites?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna do a video for that, but it's a video we did.
Okay.
I like it. I think it's done. It's well for the idea, but you know, it's definitely not the production quality that we had for the first one because like we were going to locations and doing stuff and
he had like an actual camera.
Yeah, we're using a GoPro now.
Yeah, we just use GoPro.
No, I did think they were like really great quality because I was like, man, they're just starting. I'm surprised these videos was looking as good as they could because like
honestly that was the goal.
Honestly, 2 a.m. was the first music video we put out. I've told the story before.
Oh yeah,
it's always funny because like I said, when we first started the band, it was just like, hey, let's just record these songs, put them out, whatever. And then Javen hit us up, and then we started doing a video with him. So we were doing the video for 2 a.m. and we shot on the first day, which we shot in like an abandoned church.
Okay.
For part of it, we did some at my house and then some in this abandoned church, and like we set up a time to like go set up the night before some stuff so we could get in the next day and start filming quickly. Like the air conditioner didn't work in there, so like it was just trying to like get the stage set up for it. And he's like, yeah, I'll come over after work. And then, like, he was just like, oh, I'm going to go get some food with some... So he didn't show up that night to set up. Because he wasn't... At this point, he wasn't taking it seriously. But then he started seeing, like, clips of, like, the shots. And he was like, oh, so, like, we're doing this band now, I guess.
I just remember being like, we're a real band?
Just because you immediately got that much more interested once you saw the quality of what
he was joking. He says he was joking, but I feel like there's a bit of a truth in that. He was like, I wasn't taking it super serious until I saw that video.
I mean, most jokes come from some sense of reality.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I just expected nothing more and would have been happy with a guy with a camera just in his hand, like, okay, guys, do something.
He thought the guy was going to show up. Because, I mean, I did tell him, like, I said,
his iPhone.
I have a friend that's doing some video, like, going to do a video for us. And he was like, yeah, cool, whatever. I mean, I will say, to your credit, you're just down.
Right,
you're like, whatever, yeah, cool. I'm not taking this band serious, but like, I'll come show up and do a video, that's cool.
I got nothing going on.
And then now we're 2 years into it, releasing a second album.
Yeah.
And still don't know what the hell we're doing.
Now, I have yet to listen to the first, like, so I can go back to that. That's good
Absolutely,
too.
yeah.
I've got a love-hate relationship with it in ways, like, and some, like, the audio quality is much better with the new album.
It came out 2021, I guess.
Yeah, it was April 20th.
Which 2020, maybe?
4/20, 21.
Oh, nice.
I said that as a joke, like, we should release it on 420, and he was like, okay, and just like,
run with it.
What? Okay, yeah. So there's no meaning to that at all.
I will say for the first album, I will say this album that you've listened to, is like the first like Dead Allies album.
For sure.
The first album, I have a love-hate relationship with it as well. I'm proud of it.
Yeah, but you gotta start somewhere again. I know we've said it and everyone says this a trillion times, but you do.
Yeah,
course,
absolutely.
yeah.
But like that album, like I said, it was just a collection of songs. Like a lot, like 2 a.m. was like the first song that we wrote as Dead Allies. The rest of them were just like songs that I had written before and just brought him in on, added him to, and so like a lot of that album on his end, I feel like was just him
literally
adding
just
to what I did.
That's kind of what I was doing.
And I feel like on this one, I feel like you have more connection to this album because we wrote this album together.
Yeah.
And like this, he was part of the writing process. Because I mean, on the first one, on some of the songs, like I did have like general ideas of like stuff. Like I had programmed drums really poorly on previous versions of them.
Yeah.
Really and I always told him, I was like, do what you want to do. But then he's like, I mean, I already heard how that was done, and I kind of want to stick in the same vein of it. So I feel like you kind of felt a little. Restricted with the first one.
But it wasn't even a noticeable thing because I was just like, I'm just playing this part. That's what the recording is going to be, and that's what it was, So, yeah, it's interesting to think that was our start. Like, you always assume your start is going to be super calculated and like, oh, we're going to do it like this, and we're going to be like Slipknot and spend $40,000 on our first album. That was a personal dig. But,
you probably never watched that.
Yeah.
What was their the first album I was aware of Slipknot is Iowa, but what was their actual first album?
I have no
do
idea.
they-
I have
don't
no
know.
idea.
I have no idea.
Anyway.
I wish I liked it more. I love Psychosocial.
Yeah.
No, I like the Iowa album and I like that song, but to be honest, yeah, that's kind of where it starts and ends. I never
Yeah,
really got
yeah,
into
yeah.
them past that.
Any metal that gets a little too mayhemy, I'm like, check out. Just like with jazz, as soon as you start to get a little off the beaten path, I'm like, I've lost
I mean,
the train
the
of thought.
point of jazz is, yes, to be as creative as possible, but there, I don't know, I feel there's a fine line
Yeah.
of like,
I feel like
I
it's good
lose
jazz.
interest fast if it's just too all over the place. I
Right.
can't make,
Well, exactly.
I just
That's
can't
kind
make
of where
sense
I'm
of what's
coming
going on.
from. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you've got like,
Yeah,
like,
I'm like,
what?
what have you, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, so
I
death
agree.
metal?
yeah, basically.
No.
Well, I don't know. There's some really talented death metal musicians that I'm like, holy shit, I could never.
Yes.
Some that
yes,
play at the
yes.
handlebar. Shout out to them.
Yeah, where they're like
Wish I could
double
do that.
bassing and
Oh,
they
yeah.
have like what? How many like toms? I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
It's ridiculous.
All of them.
If only one of these days I'll do it just to say I did it.
What's your favorite just track of this album? If you just gotta convince somebody, hey, you listen to one track on this new album, what should they listen to?
Oh, which, like, if I'm pulling up, like, which one am I going to show people? Disappear, for sure.
Okay.
I like that
okay.
one. That one,
Okay.
we've had that in our set list for a while now because,
Track number 2.
yeah,
Right.
track number 2.
Yes.
When we wrote it, we were like, this is sick. And, like, we actually joked that we ripped off that song from a friend of ours growing up, our old youth leader, his band, Bloodstained Grace. They're not a thing anymore, but, like, it's very much in that vein of that, and I always tell him, like, I sent it to him when we released the lyric videos, like, hey, this is a song we ripped off from y'all.
Yeah, but you it always kept in the back of your
yeah.
head because you just always really liked it, and you're
Yeah.
like, I want to do a song like that.
Oh,
you
yeah.
should be doing stuff like that.
Absolutely. It's,
Oh, yeah.
and, like,
Yeah.
again, like, that's another one of those things, like, I can tell you, like, where, like, who I was ripping off when I wrote that song.
I will say, I mean, not to sound egotistical in any way, but that was one that I was like, oh, we got fire in our hands. Like, really, the
I feel like
biggest
we both
part
felt like that.
yeah, the biggest part we ripped off, I think, was truly just the intro.
drum
That whole
intro.
drum intro
Yeah,
was
yeah.
kind of almost to a T what he did, and then we just started playing. I was like, oh shit, this is a banger. Like,
I like listening to records like you as well. Like, I like listening to records
I
start to
am
finish.
very much an album guy. Always have been.
Yeah.
Always will be. I want to listen beginning to end, and I want to get a sense of their overall vibe.
And I was
am that
definitely,
way.
like, as we were coming up with, like, the order of it, I'm definitely
Yeah.
trying to, like, get, like, the ride of it. You know, like, it starts off, you know, the
No,
first
you
three
did- you
songs
did it
starts
great.
off, like,
Yes,
builds
it
up,
does
and they're
do that,
heavy, then
yes.
it kind of gets.
Then you
it
got like 2 or
smooths
3
out.
tracks where it slows down. Then it picks up
Yeah,
again. Then
that's
it's-
that was the
yeah.
kind of the
It
idea
did.
of trying to make it a ride that you listen to. Like,
Mm-hmm.
not that anybody listens to full albums anymore, but I appreciate that you
Yes, but even the styles like were like if you listen to the song previous and the one after, they're a lot closer in style than if
Yeah.
you were to jump 3 or 4 tracks
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah.
I definitely
I
like.
think we were
That's
trying to
also
keep that in
something
mind.
I do when I'm listening through it. I'm like, because I record the albums and I mix them and master myself. So like as we're doing it all, like I'm listening to like this song into this song and being like, all right, that's felt too quick. So I'll just add some time at the end of this one because Broken, though, this is the first track that he wrote fully on his own.
Broken is the
Oh, yeah.
song that I really think. Speaking of Alter Bridge, I think that's what sounds like Alter Bridge more
What?
than anything. Is
oh snap!
Yeah,
you can't
yeah.
compare me to Miles Kennedy.
I don't care, but yeah.
What?
But like he wrote that
Yeah.
song and like it's a heavy song. And then like Hold On right after it's also
Yep.
you know, it's about
just emotional,
suicide, very emotional.
and then it goes into piece of shit.
Yeah,
And
and,
it's
like,
like-
it's just like how do we like what do we do? So like there's like a gap between Hold On and POS because it's like you know like we can't just jump right back into that, but like POS has like that blues feel. It starts off kind of slow, so it kind of builds you back into
No, I think
that
it does.
and just trying
I
to
think
like
it works great.
balance all of that.
The fun thing for me
Interesting.
is that I guess we are the only ones that sort of have this perspective naturally, but it seems like POS naturally fits there because it's sort of like a Broken is, you know, I'm broken, blah, 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 and then Hold On is I'm here for you, whatever, and
Yeah.
then POS is us trying to cheer each other up like, fuck you, you're a
POS
little
is
piece
you
of
are
shit.
actually truly over it, and now you're just like, yeah, fuck off, I'm good.
Yeah, but it was more so us singing to each other, you're a piece of shit,
Well,
no, you're a piece of shit. I think you
What's
should
funny
eat
about
shit.
that song is I had the lick for that song, I've had that for years, and I can never figure out what to do with it. So in like one of those attempts to like send him a clip and be like, hey, like, how do you feel this go? Like, what do you feel about this? And I sent him the clip of me playing the part.
I like that it's an acoustic bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
too.
Well, and I sang it on like it was just like a voice memo, and I was just like, I wrote this song for you to tell you how I feel. And like he was telling me when he first listened to it, he was like, oh, I wrote me a song, and then it ends with like, you know, you're a piece of shit. And he was like, oh, all right.
Oh. Yeah, I hate it. I was like, this is going good.
We were
Okay.
actually gonna take
I thought this was actually gonna be nice.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, I feel like that was because of that moment alone, we were almost like, yeah, well, anyways, let's not fucking around. And then a couple of my high school friends came out to a show, didn't expect it, and they were like, I don't remember anything else, but that piece of shit song was great.
Oh, yeah, it's the only
Now,
song anybody
my
will talk to
favorite
us
run
about.
is the 3, but maybe if I had to pick a favorite, maybe that's it. Because I'm thinking, like, I love that, and then you do the resting bitch face bit,
Oh, yeah.
which is blink 1 billion.
Oh, thank you.
Right?
That's exactly what we're ripping off.
Yes. Okay.
Couldn't be more blinking. Yeah.
We actually wrote that. That one's actually funny because we wrote that in a practice. We were practicing for a show we were doing, and I was just like, "Hey, I wrote this like quick funny song down," and I played it for him. And he was like, "Oh, I have an idea." So we started playing drums, and I actually like just while we were practicing, went and grabbed some mics real quick and recorded the drums like right there, like
Cool.
5 minutes after he wrote it. We had recorded the rest of the album at that point.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was working on it, and then like in a practice we did that, and I went and grabbed like 5 mics, put it on there, recorded it, and then added my parts to it later. But like that song came together
Sick.
super quick,
In
and
a
it's
moment's
super
notice.
fun.
I think we were talking about how someone doesn't like you because of your resting bitch face.
Or we're talking about how somebody didn't like me, but they've never spoken to me, and I was like, I just have a resting bitch face.
Yeah.
Like
It's
it's,
unapproachable.
I don't mean to look like that. I just
Can you give me a straight face right now?
No, and then right after that is just 2 like genuinely great rock tracks, I feel. To just sort of end it off,
Yeah.
where it's like, okay, we're done fooling around, here's 2 more bangers, and then it's over.
Yeah, I mean, we try.
Yeah.
I also.
Leave them wanting more. You know?
I feel like we balance that line of like serious songs and then funny songs. You know, I feel like "Let's Go Home" it's a pretty funny song. You know,
Yeah, but it's still just good more than funny, I
Yeah.
feel.
I agree.
Yeah,
I hear you.
Yeah.
But,
I
like-
think it was his intention going into it to like, I just want to make a funny song, and I'm like, this is actually a good song.
Yeah,
So, like,
yeah.
Let's
yeah.
just keep it a good song.
I mean, there's some like parody style lyrics in it, but
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Overall, it honestly doesn't feel like you're even trying to be funny to be.
Yeah, it's
I
really
mean,
just like
well,
the,
it's because I wrote that song from a genuine place. I genuinely
Cool.
do just want to go home.
I
all the time.
do.
Yeah,
Every time
there's a band like I want to take my pants off. and just-
It's part of the chorus. Like
Yeah.
I can't wait to go home and take my pants off. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
It's genuine, which is right from place of genuine. Yeah, like but it's also funny.
It's pronounced genuinity.
I almost said that, and I was like, that's not right.
Genuity, sorry.
Back to the point of like on POS. Whenever we play that's the only we started playing it as a joke. Live, we're like, this is a fun song. Like, we can get away
Yeah.
with this, but it's literally the only song anybody will ever talk to us about directly. People come up to us and be
Y'all
like,
should go to like different like a random bar that are just accepting whatever group because they're so easy. Just like, hey, can we play this night here, than actually trying to find a venue, right?
yeah.
And that song would kill at any bar.
Oh, yeah.
Well, here's the problem. We played together for 15 years in bars and shitty little rooms, and we're kind
And
of
you're
like,
kind of over it.
let's just step away from that. Let's just try to only do
But-
venues if we can.
I will say the first time we played POS was at a house show. We didn't have any backing tracks. It was just me on guitar, him on drums,
Okay.
singing. And I was like, I'm going to teach y'all the chorus of this song. I want y'all to sing it back to us. We played it. We got to the last chorus, and like everybody, like there's like 20 people in the room, and like all of them were just screaming it back to us. And like I'm borderline on the edge of tears because that was such an emotional thing. Like these are lyrics I wrote, and all of these people are screaming them back at me. But like the lyrics are, "You're a piece of shit. You're a piece
Yeah.
of shit. I think you should eat shit because you look like shit." And like, but like
They're
people are
technically,
screaming.
I guess, shitting on you.
Right?
but-
And they're like screaming it at me, and I'm just like, I'm super emotional right now. And these are the words I'm emotional too. Like, alright. It was a weird thing. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just like that.
But moments like that,
Oh, yeah.
you're gonna fucking remember until the end
Absolutely.
of time.
Well, to give you my answer, my favorite has got to be "Let's Go Home." Truthfully,
Okay.
I barely remember that. That's what it's really just the whole choir effect. Is just like money. Perfect.
Yeah. The way that it's almost in there quite a bit longer than what you would realize, which I love.
Oh, yeah.
But yes, the fact that it just
The
keeps
odds go
going
to the
more.
end.
Yes.
It's almost
more and more.
just like a gradual. Absolutely, I love that kind of
And
stuff.
then especially if you just had it on repeat,
Yeah.
right? And then it bleeds right into the chorus of the verse. That's the magic.
That's the goal. If we can get someone to sit down for an hour and 2 minutes at a time, we got it.
We when I recorded that choir, so that choir part is just me and my wife. It's like
Okay.
60 tracks of us doing like the different parts of it.
Wow. That's impressive.
Yeah, and I played it for him.
It's quite good.
I brought him over and I was like, "Hey, check this part. Like, check this out. How do you feel about this?" And I played it, and he was like, "Cool. You want to add my voice to it?" And I was like, "I really don't." it was.
Still to this day, I don't get it.
I think it is legit. I think 56 to 60 tracks of like me and my wife doing
I would have
different
never
parts.
assumed that.
We
That's
could have had
wild.
64 to 80.
Yeah, dude. Come on.
All you had to do is add me. That's all I'm doing. Didn't really need it, but yeah. I'm under the theory that the more different voices you pick, the better that choir will sound. But I don't know.
At that
a
point,
thing
I was
about
just
sound.
tired.
Yes. Now, the majority of this talk is talking like on the album structure and all that. But I think y'all's original point of just people picking a random song and listening to it.
Absolutely.
Majority of the time, that's just going to be the case.
Absolutely.
And I get that's why it's like, I keep hearing this conversation a lot. I've been hearing this for like the last year and a half of different artists. I'll be like, after a show, they'll be talking and they'll be like, man, we should probably be done with albums. And I'm just always thinking in my head, first of all, no, just for my own personal interest.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But two, I don't know. It's hard to know what the other side of that is until you just did it.
Right.
But let's say you did it and it's like, well, let's say your number's lower and it's like, well, is it because we didn't do an album or is it because this song is actually worse? Or it's like,
Yeah.
you're never going to know the answer. And
Here's
it's
my
like,
hot take. I don't think bands are writing for albums anymore. I think
Oh,
it used
sure.
to be that bands
I
were
agree.
writing for the collection of the songs, and now they're just like, each song has to be a hit. Let's
Yeah.
write them
Yeah.
completely
I agree.
independently
I
and then
agree.
throw them together.
I mean, that's always been the goal. Like even back to like Michael Jackson, like doing Thriller. Like his idea was to have
fair.
each song have a hit.
You don't
Each
go into
song,
it
which
thinking-
he almost did, but
You don't go into it thinking one's not going to be a hit.
Absolutely.
Obviously,
Yeah,
But
but even
I
like
do-
a Good Charlotte album technically still has that in mind. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the most like, well, I don't want to say mundane. I do like Good Charlotte, but I'm just trying to think of some like whatever pop punk group. Like, I feel you should definitely pour as much energy as possible into having it be a full experience.
Right.
absolutely.
I think it's too
I
important.
mean,
That's
I
why-
feel like a lot of bands, like I feel like what you're saying is a lot of bands nowadays aren't doing that. And one of the things I hate doing, because I love listening to albums, like start to finish, I hate when I put an album on and I just feel like jarred around. Like,
Yeah.
one song ends and the next one starts. I'm like, what the hell? Like, there's no
yeah.
thought into it. There was just like, hey, we have 10 songs, let's put 10 songs out. And you're
Yeah.
like, cool. Which, I mean, but like nowadays, it's like, who knows what is right to do? Do you do an album? Do you do singles? And like,
But you don't see, that's the thing, you can go anywhere with this because
Yeah.
let's say the very next
There's so many
track
ways.
goes so very opposite, but what if it ends up working out for you because
Yeah.
it ends up being such a jar?
absolutely.
yeah.
Which I mean could work. I mean,
Yeah,
and it's.
yeah.
I mean, I've listened to albums that like all the songs are really good, but I feel like the flow of the album was done poorly. That I don't want to listen to the album through. I just want to listen to songs off the album.
Now,
because
what are
I get-
some albums y'all could think of that are like key into this? Man, I love the whole experience beginning to end. Like, first of all, one of my favorites, even though it may be typical, is like Dark Side of the Moon. I just love beginning to end and how that flows. But then I can go to something like even Cartel, which I don't know if y'all know, but there is this Chroma album that's so good at going beginning to end, to where when you get to the last, it starts with answers and then starts with questions and then goes to the answers. And what's cool in the answers track is it actually references all the previous tracks inside of the final track.
Oh, that's sick.
And I love when like something like that happens.
Truthfully, Usher's Confessions album
Yes.
was the first thing I thought of.
I
don't know why.
I know.
Yeah, and then suddenly he's like,
pushing.
"You for real?" And then, boom, I got a baby or whatever. I don't know.
But it does do that.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
It tells a story.
Yeah. He's great at that.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess an album. You asked me a question like that, and I forget everything I've ever listened to.
No, I know.
But one I can think of right now is, do you know the band Amberlin?
Yes.
Just back in the day, I mean, they were in that era where you made albums. That's
Yeah,
what you did,
yeah,
and like
yeah.
they have those like their interludes that like tie like from this one to that one, and they.
I think they just do it with every album.
Yeah, and like, but I mean,
which
like
is
that,
really good at
for that's just what they did. That's how they did it, and I listened to them a lot, and
Yeah.
they were one of the bands that I listened to just full albums of. I was actually listening to Cities a couple weeks ago because I just got on a kick of them all of a sudden. But yeah, just bands like when there's like that continuity, when like bands do like little interludes or whatever. There's a band called May, and I can't remember which album it was, but I remember they had like an intro and an outro on the album, and like the intro like kind of talked about the songs to come, and then the outro talked about the songs that happened. Like they weren't songs that they would play live, but it was just like radio like type stuff. But I mean, I was like, you put work, you put effort into doing that, and I don't know, I appreciate when there's like effort in the continuity of it.
Do y'all have a track in there to where like there's a previous bit from a previous track like slipped in?
In Breakdown, the opener track, I do reference 2 a.m.
Cool.
Ever so slightly.
I think any group should do this to where it just randomly slip in a track 3 or 4 tracks back of just referencing whether it's just a certain riff or whether it's a certain thing, like little tiny callbacks to where like when people listen to a bunch, they're like starting to catch those little, let's say, Easter eggs.
That is stuff I do love. I love that type of stuff, and I do it every now and then when it fits. I can't think of any specifically other than that one lyric I reference back to 2 a.m. when I say we're still locked inside with our demons. I cannot remember my own lyric right now. But I reference it's a reference to 2 a.m. from the first album.
But that's sick. That's cool. I didn't know.
But it's just a little one.
The references in the one song that I wrote, Broken, it really just like stuff that I've literally said to a female. Just, specifically, why don't you go fuck the rest of your friends? That one, that's a good one.
It doesn't need to reference a previous track. It can reference just a legit moment in your life.
That's why that part is so nice for me. I'm just like, I said that to her once.
Because there's a difference. There is like you referencing something in the past, but you're not like being literal with it. But if you can actually be literal with the reference, it makes it 10 times better.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
I love that. I love that kind of stuff. Yeah, I want someone somewhere to be like, he said that to me once. Damn it. Now it's in a song.
Well, even in Breakdown, like I reference Breakdown inside of Breakdown, like the first verse and the second verse starts off with same old shit, just another day. We don't want to quit, but we need the pay. I don't know how long we can go on like this. It's the first verse, and the second verse is same old shit, just another day. We all want to quit, but we need the pay. I feel like I'm living out the same old day.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And then I go into whatever. I can't remember. If I'm playing it, like there's so many times I'm on stage playing a song, like he'll start the backing track, we'll start the song, and I'm like, I don't remember the first word. And then like we get up to the spot, like it gets to like the spot, I just walk up to the mic, like, all right, I hope I remember it. And then like I remember it. And I'm like, all right, cool.
I went to a show last night with a friend who was playing that night, and he did the same exact thing. He's like, shit, we're about to play and I can't remember my song. And he's like trying to look it up. He's doing all this, and like his wife's just like, you're gonna do it, just go.
Just do it. That's hilarious.
But she was right. The very moment it starts, he just immediately knew.
There's a lot of times, especially in the cover gigs that I've played, is like, they'll be like, all right, next one. And then I'm like, oh, wait. And then they hit their guitar lick, and I'm like, oh, I do know this. Okay, good. Works out.
This album's coming out. When exactly is it coming out?
March 1st.
Yeah. And how many tracks are on there?
12.
Okay.
On this one.
There'll be 11 after this. It'll just say 2 through 12. After this conversation.
I only say that because by the time I finish the album, I'm like, man, like, it's not that I didn't like it. It's that I ended up realizing, like, oh my God, this went far grander than I ever envisioned.
So it gets better as you go. So we should keep it where it's at because it gets better as you go.
Right? You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
One thing that that's fun about, real quick, one thing that's fun about our being a duo and the fact that we wear these cheesy ass sweater vests or matching outfits no matter where we go. I don't know if you've seen the sweater vest thing, but it's people inevitably always doubt us, and I think
they always underestimate us.
I think a lot of it is because it's like, oh, a two-piece band, oh, okay, a cajon and acoustic guitar, this is gonna suck, like, you know. But then they hear us play a couple songs, and they're like, oh shit, like. So I kind of enjoy the. Oh, this first song. Okay, I guess I'll click next and be like, "What is this song? Oh shit!" You know. So I kind of hope.
Yeah.
For a little bit of that.
We did a sound check at our very first gig. We did the sound check there, and I ended up going to talk to the band. We didn't tell anybody it was our first gig. We were just like, we're just gonna play and see.
Yeah, I don't know if I would either. Yeah.
But then I was talking to one of the bands that was playing, and they were just like, "Man, how do y'all sound so big just being the two of y'all?" And I was like, well, I mean, we use backing tracks, so like that is part of it. And they're like, we use backing tracks, and there's 4 of us. And I was like, I don't know. Then
get good.
We're loud. Get good. That's the answer every time, dude. Every time. Have you tried getting good?
But yeah, it's also fun. It happens a lot. People are just like, y'all need to have at least a bass player up there with y'all. You'll need to at least have just this. And then like we play our set, and then they're like, yeah, y'all don't need anybody else.
Prove them wrong every time. Nice.
It seems to work.
As long as we can continue to do that.
Yeah, that's the hope. As long as people continue to have that feeling after.
No, what sucks more than anything is when I kept listening to the album and I'm like, man, I actually really like this, and now I'm actually nervous going into this. If I didn't like it would just be like work to me. I'd be like, okay, I'm going, we'll talk and whatever. But now that I actually liked it, now I'm like, well, damn, I don't want to like. Now I'm rethinking everything.
So you weren't taken serious. Cool.
Yeah.
I'll just say, and this is no shade, but we had one interview before, and I was just like, don't know him. That's fine. Okay. And then we showed up and just did it, and I was kind of like this the whole time.
It was an online interview with like a magazine up in Ohio, I think.
Yeah, let's not get too specific. And I just didn't want to, in case I'm throwing shade. But and then knowing, I was like, oh, seeing Pensacola, okay, be cool.
It's the closest of it. Like people we know might actually watch this.
Yeah.
I'm just excited for you guys to make a thing out of seeing Pensacola.
Yes.
There's people in Fort Walton that have tried and fallen flat on their face.
Well, the story is the creator's from DC, and he was a part of the scene there and worked with all that. Well, comes to Pensacola and is like, okay, well, I just want to do the same thing here. Yeah. And then as he's working on it, comes across Tim Edge, who is also currently working on it. So they just co-op it together, and then they're able to do far more than what they were separate. And now there's like 7 or 8 of us, and we're all just doing different things, whether it's like one person marketing. Okay, I'm the video dude that recently started. Well, we got somebody specifically for photos, right? And it's like, yes, if you can just sort of divvy out where everyone's doing different things, so much more can come together. We can all technically do everything, but it wouldn't be nearly as good as if like we can pull someone who has a true passion about this specific thing.
Yeah.
And then like get it to do. And music will always be my number one. Like I was saying before the show, is like I do a video game podcast and I'm nerdy as hell with that. Long story short, let's say Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I'm like, couldn't be more excited for example. But more than anything, it's always comes back to just, I don't know, maybe even more than music, maybe just like when I was like real little, I'm just like recording skits on like a cassette player, or, we're recording tracks off the radio and trying to create mixes from that, to then like when the internet starts becoming a thing of down from, I started right where Napster started. And eventually died, went to like LimeWire and all these other things. But it was countless nights of just spending close to an hour to download a single song. Being up till like 6, 7 in the morning.
Hoping it's actually the song and not a virus.
Right?
Yeah. So, you ever sit there and just watch the progress? But it's 62%. Oh, nice.
Getting excited over percentages was actually a real thing.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Time left, 11 days. Jump.
Yeah, basically.
It was just 12.
Yeah. The more you queue, the longer those times just...
Dude, I got this whole album and it only took 7 days.
Yeah.
Could you
No,
imagine?
it's legit. Oof. It's
I mean,
so
do you remember
weird.
those days when you had to
yeah.
wait that long, and now you're like, what do you mean 5 minutes?
Yeah, we've gotten pretty spoiled and bad about that.
Oh
but-
yeah, well that's why I had the influences I had as a child. I think is because we weren't gonna, you know, you have what you have. Like you gotta sit through the rigmarole of downloading more. Now I'm listening to Eminem at 8 years old, so
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm glad
yeah,
I did.
Yeah. Yeah, my kid is 9, and he's just now hitting a point where he's starting to like recognize music more than just background noise or something.
Right.
You know
Nice.
what I mean? And so
awesome.
it's cool. I'm very curious. He doesn't have a favorite group or anything that I really listen to specifically, but I'm very curious what the first two. Watch it be something I genuinely hate.
Nah.
Like, I mean, an artist I hate more than anything else, and it may sound typical, but I really do hate the radioactive. What's the? I don't even know the name of the group.
Imagine Dragons.
Yes, like there's something about it. I don't know. It makes me so angry and annoyed. I'm like,
enough.
it couldn't be any worse.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I'm trying to think of
and
another
so
one.
I'm trying to
There's
think
so many
like,
bad
what
ones.
if like that ends up being like his favorite thing to listen to, and I'm like, fuck.
But you know
serves me
what?
Right.
I'm so concerned about like, what if that was their best, and what if we become the next Imagine Dragons? Listen to these assholes. Like,
Honestly, first of all,
damn it.
if I became Imagine Dragons, dude, first of all, I'd sell out hard as fuck. Like, I'd be happy
sure.
that many people listen
For
to my
sure.
music,
I feel
even
you.
if I hated it.
I always think about that. Like, are we gonna be the next Nickelback? That's not the way we wanted this to go. You
Well, I mean,
know?
like
Shit.
everybody hated Nickelback for the longest time, but like suddenly
It's turning around.
everybody loves them. Like you all.
I
think.
never hated, never loved. To me, it's just another. I don't know. It's why I'm whatever on them. I never really cared about them.
Yeah.
Never
It
really
It was just felt like
been
what was
much
popular
of a thing.
to me.
Yeah,
Like they have some good songs. They have some bangers for
They got
sure.
ups and downs.
Yeah, yeah. But no, I'm never like popping in a Nickelback album. But I'm not the person crapping on it either. I don't know. The only group is that, and
That's
again,
fair.
I forgot.
They have been compared to be the new Nickelback. I've seen articles on it where it's like the
Really?
new Nickelback is Imagine Dragons. I'm like, does that mean in 20 years everybody's gonna love them?
I mean, I hate to hate on things that get hated by millions and being a part of that, you know. But I don't know. I just like.
if it's deserved,
I
it's
hate what I
deserved.
hate. I like what I
Yeah.
like. It's just what it is.
Taylor
I don't know what
Swift,
to tell
my
you,
fan.
man.
Old Taylor
You're
Swift.
full on a liar.
Old Taylor Swift, but new Taylor Swift.
Again, I'm indifferent. I don't know. To me, it's just like, well, I don't really listen to like, you know, that type of music, so I don't really care one way or the other.
That's fair.
I don't know,
And that's
Folklore and
kinda-
Evermore. Those two albums slap.
Those two were good.
Those
I
two
wouldn't,
are
I wouldn't
good.
even know. That's
They're
what I-
they
Oh,
were
wow, we
she
got a real
recorded them
hater.
for like 2020, and it's all like acoustic, like pianos, like actual instruments. It's not like the poppy stuff. It's
No.
actually good. I enjoyed it very much. My wife
Not
is
to
a
turn this into a Taylor Swift conversation, but I'm going to continue on. Like, yes, the Super Bowl just happened, and it was a whole thing, and now everyone's talking. Me, I just find that people getting annoyed by her far more annoying
Oh,
than
yeah,
just
absolutely.
her. Like, dude, shut up.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal. Move on.
She's just
please.
there.
I don't
Who
care.
cares? There's so many other celebrities also there.
Yeah.
Get
Or the
over
people
it.
that think like, oh well, actually she's there because it's her 13th game and it's the 13th album.
Okay. Yeah.
And she sat in the 13th row.
The only
Same.
thing I really cared about from the Super Bowl was you sent me a picture
Oh yeah.
yesterday, and you were like, "If I die, this is how I want you to honor me." Apparently, Usher's drummer passed away a couple months ago, right?
Yeah, right around the time they announced Usher was going to play the Super Bowl.
His drummer passed away,
And he played with
Did
it for
not know.
decades.
Okay.
Yeah,
and he actually
Aaron
set up
Spears.
his drum set on the Super Bowl stage.
Aw.
So it's
That's
just up
nice.
there.
Just sitting there and nobody touched it.
Nobody's
Yeah.
playing it. It's just I thought that was a really cool tribute.
That's cool. That's really cool.
That's the only thing from the
Yeah.
Super Bowl that I took. I didn't watch it. I only got that because it sent me the picture of it and said that, and I was like, that makes me want to cry a little bit.
Right?
Yeah,
right.
it was
That's
beautiful.
sweet. Yeah,
R.I.P.
yeah.
I never got the chance to meet him. God damn it.
All right. Well, I'm Tim with Team Pensacola.
I'm Sam with Dead Allies.
Allies? Oh, James. I'm James.
All right, we can end this how we end all of our shows.
yeah.
I'm dead. He's Allies.
Together with Sam and James.
Say later.
Should have been more enthusiastic. I hate it here.